being the expert that you are, we often get asked, like, Penjing, Bonsai, what's the difference? Can you give us a rundown?
Penjing, I think, is a little more descriptive because it suggests a potted scenery versus bonsai is a potted planting. But essentially, it's the same art form. And bonsai, of course, uh, originated from Penjing as the art was brought over, possibly through Korea to Japan from China. And bonsai now is becoming so international that it's in many cases very hard to tell the difference. However, in China, because it's such a vast country, um, and where parts of China have been before modern transportation relatively isolated from other parts, there are traditional forms of Penjing that are not at all like Japanese bonsai and are very, very interesting, including tray landscapes, rock and water Penjing, land and water Penjing, where you're seeing an entire landscape in a tray.
It's like a picture, like a diorama.
Yeah, exactly. Where you're seeing certain um, characteristics that are different than Japanese bonsai in terms of having a mixture of a very, let's say, straight trunk and a lot of movement in the branches that then result. Or you'll have this drop branch, typical of Lingnan style and bonsai. Um, in Over in Yangzhou, your traditional styles, you see what they call ingenious cloud, were very thin layers of foliage, platform style with very distinct pads uh, of uh, of foliage on the tree, and a lot of things that are done in some cases very abstractly. Making almost tree trunks into the shape of written characters, for instance, and other things. Um, Drawing a grove of trees from the stump of a tree so that the stump becomes a landform. It goes on and on. In other words, I guess what I'm getting at is that the diversity um, of approaches in China, especially with traditional forms, is much greater than, let's say, the diversity of forms in Japan, which is very beautiful work, but there are some quite specific styles and ways of treating, quite specific ways of treating different species of trees and so forth.
Okay.
So they each have uh, a, a certain characteristic that helps define them.